Hey, you guys. Hold on. There we go. I have on my headset here. Hopefully, this microphone will make things louder for you guys. Give you a nice, clear sound. Okay. Every now and then, I like to come on and add another video to my library. And these are just, words of wisdom, big mama advice, and just things to consider, you guys, for primarily my feminine energy in this video. But can masculine energy take something from this? Yes. There are going to be things that I mention here that are going to certainly pertain to whether you are a male or a female, okay? And then for LGBTQ, obviously, okay? Because we know the narcissist likes to try to seal the deal on that primary source, huh? Okay, and now this is going to obviously have a lot to do with, the codependency, the self-esteem, so taking that inventory on itself. But I have a list here of 12 things to consider before you get married. But my disclosure here, number one, is going to be that I am for marriage, generally speaking. I think it's a beautiful thing. So let me get that out there before somebody jumps in here and says, she's bashing marriage, she's against love and all this stuff, okay? Because that's absolutely not the case. I'm for it when it makes sense, when it's logical. And I know some people are already automatically going to be like, when it makes sense, when it's logical. Yeah, because that's one of the first ways that a lot of women go into the left field. They're not using a lot of sense and logic when it comes to that. They're running off of emotions. Okay, a smart woman will approach marriage from a very, very, very logical standpoint. Okay, does that mean that she has no feelings for her husband or her partner? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But if you are making, it's supposed to be a lifetime commitment to someone till death do your part, why wouldn't there be an extremely healthy dose of logic mixed in there? Okay, so that's the first thing that I'm going to say. You have to approach this with your logic and common sense, ladies, all right? And I know that generally speaking, women may be more inclined to be more emotional, but does that mean you have to succumb to that? Absolutely not. On this channel, we always talk about using our emotional maturity. All right, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. I know we're on different time zones here. And thank you for those of you who are able to join in this live chat. Make sure you're hitting the like button, you guys. It does help the channel grow, okay? So definitely make sure you're showing love there. All right, so let's get to the number one here on my list, and that's actually knowing the why. Like, why are you getting married? You need to know the why. All right, so there are a whole list of things that I would consider wise and smart reasons to be getting married. And of course, there's going to be a whole list of reasons that are like, huh? Run that by me again? Okay, so is this a peer pressure thing where, your family is putting pressure on you to get married, or you're putting pressure on yourself to rush and get married because you've reached a certain age? Is this a situation where you don't want to hurt somebody else's feelings? Okay, you're not really feeling it and you don't want to say no, so you say yes to the engagement. Yes, especially on a channel like this where people are coming to grow in their emotional maturity, and perhaps a lot of times there are some codependency going on here, and our muscle for saying no is not as strong. So what is the why here? Why are you deciding to marry? Hold on, you guys. Let me make sure that my phone is on silent because it's not. Okay. So those notifications aren't coming through properly. There we go. Good afternoon from Amsterdam, Funky Friday. So we need to be considering our reasons why we're getting married, you guys. And it's further down the list here, but I highly don't recommend getting married for love. You know, if you're just getting married for love, we're in love, you know, that's emotional, number one. That's emotional. I'm not saying that you need to be, you know, that it should be void of these things, but no. So the why needs to be figured out. The why needs to be figured out. And the reason needs to be something that makes sense, especially on a long term. Okay? I mean, honeymoon phases in relationships, they're very temporary, you guys. So what are you going to have to fall back on when everything isn't so brand new anymore, when you don't feel necessarily like you're on cloud nine, when you're in this everyday routine with this person moving forward? What else are you going to have to fall back on is what you're going to have to consider. So knowing the why and making sure that it's something, like I said, that's going to make sense in the long term and not just short-term thinking, because marriage is supposed to be obviously a long-term thing. Okay. Yeah, and some other whys are just because, you know, you've always wanted to have a beautiful wedding. Elo says, should we go the Oprah route? Well, you know, think about why Oprah takes the stance that she takes on marriage. Number one, she's got what, billions of dollars? And that was a little further down the list. Number two, we're about to get into finances. You know I am. But Oprah doesn't want to lose her wealth. And she understands that a divorce, which is way at the bottom here on my list, consider divorce. And people are like, why would I want to consider divorce when I'm getting married? Because divorce happens, especially in American society. So taking the Oprah route is situational. If she was marrying someone that had more to lose than her, would she take that route? You know, Oprah is just trying to protect her wealth because she understands how assets get split upon divorce. And if she is the breadwinner, and I hate to see this, so I have to mention it on a channel like this, especially for those of you who are settling and dealing with lower range narcissists who are not even more financially secure than you. This guy will have no shame when you end up in a divorce. As a matter of fact, they'll be plotting on that. As a matter of fact, you'll be paying alimony to a man, and he won't have any shame. Look at what happened to Mary J. Blige. So you want to consider these things, and that's number two. What's up with the finances? What is up with the finances? If you're the breadwinner, I would not marry him. I just would not. You shouldn't be putting yourself in a vulnerable situation to where he's going to be getting pieces of your 401k, and because you're dealing with a Tyrone that might not even have a 401k or any type of retirement. So he stands to gain everything. And guess where he's going to take that money? To the next check. You know, he could be just using you to level up. Okay, just like a gold digging woman could take a type of mentality. But imagine a man doing this, ladies. So what are the finances? And I have to mention that because that's the number one cause for divorce, not even infidelity, finances. So do you know this person's credit score? Do you know if they're responsible with money? And all of this stuff ties into me because the guy should be able to protect and provide for you. And I guess I understand there are some women out there who are more in their masculine energy and they don't mind protecting and providing. You know, I'm not addressing those women. I'm not addressing them. But Oprah is taking that stance low because she has a lot to lose. But all of you women do that bring stuff to the table. whether you have Oprah level money or not. So, what are the finances? Does this person, you're going to inherit stuff once you marry them? You will. On some level, you're going to inherit that as well. So, this person has all types of debts to the IRS or anything. Guess who they're going to want to help bail them out? Okay. So, we really need to know what's up with the finances because you don't want to, have all these secrets. You want to have a prize and not a bunch of secrets. Marry a prize and not a bunch of secrets, okay? And if this person is just full of a bunch of liabilities, it's just out of order, you guys. It's just out of order. It's incredibly risky. And struggle love, that just leads to a woman paying alimony to a man. And that sucks. I hate seeing a woman in that position. But, if you're not married yet, you can avoid being the next woman that's getting got this way. Too many women are getting got this way. And that's messed up. If you're not able to put yourself first, you're already not walking in self love. If you're marrying this guy knowing you're already the breadwinner and stuff, you're already not walking in self love. You're already giving yourself the shorter end of the stick. And the other thing that I would say with this is, are you marrying potential? That's another thing on my list. Well, he could be doing this, he could end up here and there. We're talking about a lifetime commitment, though. How can you make a lifetime commitment on if and buts and maybes? Marriage is a big deal, you guys. You cannot be married for no potential. You shouldn't even, I don't even recommend dating off of potential. I've done it. I've been guilty of that in the past. It's never fared well. There are some diamond in the rough situations where you get with someone that had a lot of potential and they really take off, they really get there. But oftentimes, especially as we get a little older in life, what you see, you don't even usually get that for the long term. They're just, giving you their representative for some time, okay? Trying to get you reeled in, pretending to be something that they're not, that they cannot even sustain. And then you see who they really are. So you cannot marry. You can marry for potential, but let me know how that worked out. If any of you are divorced right now and you have married for potential, how did that work out? If anything, you need to understand logically, once you get married, you have sealed the deal. This is why a lot of times in narcissistic abuse, once they get you pregnant, you really get to see who they are. Once you get them married, you really get to see who they are because they got you now. It's like, okay, well, a person like that don't have a lot of incentive to work hard anymore because I'm all yours now, baby. All my problems, what you gonna do? We married. We are tied at the hips until that divorce is final. Okay? Somebody's calling me. I'm hoping that my Bluetooth is still on. Is my Bluetooth still on, you guys? Can someone just comment in there? And I see 15 people are watching. Let's get the likes up something. Can you guys still hear me clearly? That's my question right now. Okay, good. Because a lot of times when someone calls me, it'll throw the Bluetooth off. So it should sound the same as before. All right. So yeah, we were talking about marrying for potential. So I guess, along those lines, we can be considering, do we really know who they are? Okay, because if you're marrying for potential, you guys, you're not really marrying that person psychologically. Okay? Do you really know who this person is? Have you really done a background check on them? Do you really know that they were a convicted felon and all these things? Do you really know how many children this person had, or that they were this close to being on Megan's list, or under the Megan's law? Or you really have to know and do your homework. And we know with narcissists, they want to go 0 to 100. They want to love bomb you in the beginning, get you all swept away, and they want you to run off of those emotions. We talked about that, and then right off the rip of this conversation, it has to make sense. It has to make sense. But they want you to be caught up in that, honeymoon phase and throw all caution to the wind. And when the dust settles, what are you stuck with at that point? And you're not stuck per se, but you're going to have some consequences. Okay? So I want you to also consider divorce. And you're like, I don't want to consider divorce. People say that I'm marrying forever. I'm not even going to consider divorce, but that's not logical. We have to always consider the angles in the worst case scenario. Now, if you marry this person and you had to divorce them, what would that look like for you? How could that devastate your life? Or would you actually have something to gain from that? Another phone call. Would you have something to gain from that? Or would you have a lot to lose? And like I said, you're ending up paying alimony, especially if you're marrying off of potential. Because no type of real man is going to want to take on a wife when he don't have himself right yet. The new old me says, I'm married for potential, total disaster, 10 plus years of my life I'll never get back. Worst part was the damage done to my kids. Exactly. Yes, take time to know them. You're right, Funky Friday. Don't do it, ladies. Don't do it. And I've made videos like this where sometimes we think we'll be the exception. Why would you even want to take that risk? All right. Are deal breakers still going on? To me, and maybe they're not a deal breaker to you, but the typical woman, if he's still cheating, if he's still lying, if he's still irresponsible, if he still can't even keep his word, if these things are still going on, why would marriage even be on the table? That just to me smells like desperation. It smells like someone that's settling and someone that is ready to learn a hard lesson. Okay? So if deal breakers are still going on, marriage is not going to change it. It's going to make it worse. It's going to make it even more painful because now you upgraded this person to your life partner, spouse, and they're still just as disrespectful or more. Because like I said, now that they got the ring, now that you are all in, where are you going? Nowhere fast. I can really be me now. There's no incentive for that person to have a real act right, especially if they don't really have much to lose, okay? And you're the one with everything to lose. So marriage, just like having children, do not solve problems. If anything, it magnifies it. It makes it more stressful because now what? You're more connected. You're more tied in to this person. And they're still doing the same thing or worse at this point. Okay? Do you feel protected and provided for? Do you feel protected and provided for now? This isn't something that, they talk, no, I'm only going to do this and that for my wife. Are they doing it now? Are they showing you that they are capable and have been doing that for you now? Because a marriage is not going to miraculously change him into the man you need him to be. And I feel like, a good woman deserves a man that's going to provide and protect. And if he's leaving you vulnerable now, and it goes beyond financial, okay? But definitely there. All right, you guys. If he got you looking crazy now, that ain't no type of protection, is it? He giving you STDs now, okay? If he ain't even, I don't agree. I feel like every woman should have the option to not have to pay the bills, the main bills in the household. I feel like every woman should have that option. Whether she wants to exercise or not, she should have the option. But if he ain't even paying half the bills now, especially with cohabitation. And I don't even agree with the 50-50. To me, it's very feminine. If a man can't even pay the mortgage or the rent, like that's very feminine to me. He can't do that, but you're supposed to eventually have his babies and be vulnerable. Uh-uh. I'm big on that. And I know like some of you may think that's gold digging or whatever, but to each his own. To each his own, but to me, I think it balances out the feminine and the masculine energy. So, yeah. The next thing I have on my list is obviously not to just marry for love, because love does leave sometimes, or definitely the honeymoon phase. It changes, you guys. It changes. And what do you have then? I feel like the person that God puts into your life is to help glorify Him and His purpose for your life. So, that person will be a support system or encourage you along those lines. Okay? Love is just a feeling to me. It's feelings. And marriage is way more meaningful than that. And that's why you hear people staying together, because they think of their children's inheritances and stuff like that. Is not just, I feel feeling like you're in love. Okay, that's just not enough, you guys. And that feeling does not stay forever, and it might come and go, if you will. Zelina Love Dance says, is it really love, especially from a man? Yes, a man can really love a woman. I think figuring out if that man in front of you, does he really love you? That's going to be something that you really need to figure out. What your relationship is really built on. Because a real marriage is not for the faint of heart, okay? It will have its ups and downs, but what the relationship is built on will reveal how those ups and downs are going to play out. Okay? So you have to think long term, you guys. You have to think long term. Think about retirement. Like, what's retirement going to look like with this person? What's the end of my life going to look like with this person? We need to consider those things. And if it ain't right now, I don't see where that's going to improve, you guys. Now, this next thing is a big one that I have on the list. How do they mesh with your kids, for those of you who are having blended families? How do they mesh with your children? How do they get along with your family members? Because I feel like the life partner that God puts in your life is going to be able to blend with the other people who are ordained to be in your life. Why would God send you someone that can't even get along with your children? And I know messy adult children, if you have an adult child and you keep it real with yourself, they're toxic, and you'll know that. They're in addiction, they're very reckless and irresponsible. They're in a phase in their life where they are in the wilderness type of thing. They're not even getting along with you at that point. So let's use our emotional maturity here. But, if this person has a hard time getting along with people who are ordained in your life, you had a child out of your womb. This child is not even an adult yet. This child is ordained in your life, and this person can't get along with them. This is going to be a red flag. Are they always having issues with your family members? This stuff matters. You don't want to have to, because marriage is for the long haul, like I said, and you're going to have gatherings and get-togethers, and it just makes everything awkward, you guys. And we know how narcissists is. They don't even get along with themselves. They don't get along with you, okay? Let alone your children and stuff. Unless they're trying to recruit them in a smear campaign or try to turn them against you at some point, It's very sick, you guys. But yeah, how long do they mesh with your children for blended families? All of this stuff is going to matter. And like I said, I feel like God will send you a person. The person that He ordains in your life will, be good for your children as well. Yes, love is in action. Is that something that we show and not just what we say? It doesn't make sense to marry unless he's making over 6 figures. At least for me, it doesn't. Yeah, and we're just talking about that's just 100K right there. So you don't have to be making much to get into the six figures. Think about the type of lifestyle that you would like to have, you know? And people can be financially disqualified. It's just how life works, you guys. You can't buy this house over here unless you financially qualify for it, unless you paying all cash for it. Most people aren't doing that. Banks want to make sure you financially qualify before you get to go into that kind of house. And the bigger the house, the more you need to financially qualify. So the more you feel like you bring into the table, the more of a lifestyle that you want to have and that you want your children to have, the ones you haven't had, the ones you do have, are they going to be taking a hit because you're marrying someone who ain't even able to go half of the bills on you with you, which, like I said, I feel like he should be able to pay the rent and the mortgage, okay? And now that's taken from the kids that you already have. When you have to go pay this dude alimony when things don't work out, that's taken from the children that you currently have, you guys. So, yeah, you got to think it affects more than you, especially single moms out there. Okay? And sometimes you be doing better without the relationship, okay? If it's the wrong kind, it's just setting you back anyway. So, the next thing I have on the list here, and we kind of already mentioned it, is how are things going now? Okay, how are things going now? That's a huge indication on what is going to minimally be. Well, let's just say maximally be in the near future. Mm-hmm. Yeah, too many of us settle because we're just, self-esteem ain't high enough, and just maybe not even knowing right. Sometimes the younger you are when you get married, you may be more prone to marry for the wrong reasons. But it is an institution, okay, which makes it a business. So it does need to make sense and be logical. Okay. And of course, communication is definitely going to be the centerpiece or nucleus of any successful relationship. So if you guys are having a hard time communicating with one another, obviously that's going to be an issue. They're always misunderstanding you or acting like they are. Yeah. Just don't do it. Spare yourself. Spare yourself. And if you feel like, you was dealing with a very toxic person and now they want to get married to you, you should be, that should not make you happy. Like, oh, this person, like, it's not a flattery thing. Is what is up your sleeve, okay? What are they trying to seal the deal for you on? Yeah. So, do you guys have anything else to add before I go on this note? I just wanted to make this video because a beautiful wedding is beautiful to watch, you guys, but the marriage starts the day after that, honey. Okay? When all the guests are gone. And then some of you, that's stressful because it's beyond your means. You can't even afford to give you the wedding that you want. You're already, taking less for this, taking a hit. You can't go a day without bickering and arguing. Lady at my job said she wished she never legally got married. She has to pay more tax and just financially for business purposes. She loves her husband now. Yeah. But what did that love get her? What did that love get her, ladies? It has to make sense. If you were marrying any guy, should be benefiting your life. Okay, we got to think about the increase versus decrease, a good look versus a bad look. It needs to be a good look, ladies. Society pressures when it doesn't affect anyone by the union. Hmm. Yeah, society does put pressure on women to be married. It just needs to make sense. Like, I'm not against it, but just it needs to put you in, it needs to empower you. Just put it that way. It shouldn't be disempowering you. It should be empowering you. And just because it's a good look for him doesn't mean it's a good look for you, okay? Because men marry up all the time, and those women are not happy when it's all said and done. Those women are not going to be happy when it's all said and done. So don't rush it. Have some patience. Yeah, yeah, yeah. See how he was raised. Zillana love dance. I'm sorry, girl. She was saying, especially younger ones, go see the parents, get to see how they get along, not just once, get a good picture. Hmm. Yeah. Because those mommy issues, hmm, those guys, they don't like women. They don't respect women. And how you think you want to treat his wife at that point. All right, you guys. I'm going to end this live chat. It was great coming in and talking to you guys. I know, like, I didn't get to announce this, but I did mention in my last video that I will be doing more live chats. It'll be an easier way for me to get content out, you guys. Make sure that you hit the like button if you want to have more live chats. If you learned anything, if it was helpful to you. You know, at the end of the day, ladies, I think my main agenda here was to make it make sense. Use your common sense and your logic, and not just for, oh, we're in love. No. Mm-mm. All right. And a person like me, I do go to God and I do ask him, hey, should this person be in my life? Show it, reveal it to me, and I accept what he tells me. Okay? Not what I want, but what I need, you guys. Not what I want, but what you need. Marriage needs to be about needs and not wants. Okay? Funky Fire, thank you. More reasons why not to get married. And it's not for everyone. If it doesn't come in a way that is going to benefit you, then don't do it. Forget what society says. It needs to be until it's something that's actually going to benefit my life, add positively in the ways that in the long term, because we're talking about the long haul here, then don't do it. And it's not for everybody. You know, it's not for everyone. I'm a divorced person. I married my first boyfriend. Okay, the first man I fell in love with, I married. Okay, but I'm also, in my defense, I didn't know any better. I didn't know any better. Met him when I was 19. My mom passed when I was 7. I have no woman schooling me. I didn't know any better. Was with him through my whole 20s, and I ended up divorcing him around 30. I outgrew him. I didn't even know myself when I made that decision. I know better now. So we'll see. We'll see. It's what God tells me, honestly. For me, it's what God tells me and shows me and sends my way. Okay? I know better now. I've taken all those lessons with me. But I'm definitely not one of those women, now that I'm 38. Yes, I will say that I'm 38. I don't feel like, oh, I'm almost 40. I need to get remarried again. Like, been there, done that, honey. And even if I hadn't, I'm smart enough to know that it needs to make sense to me. I take it serious. I'm not trying to get married again to end up divorced again. And God, by the way, told me not to marry that guy. He did. I did ask him. And when he told me not to marry him, I asked my ex-husband to get the marital counseling with me. He didn't want to do it because he knew the counselor was going to probably say, I don't know about you two together, you know. But it was a very karmic relationship, and I had a lot to learn through that. I had a lot to learn through it. And I did. I did. Uh, Roz asked me, was my ex-husband a narcissist? He was toxic. He was definitely toxic. I'm going to say that. I'm not going to say that I'm 100% sure that he was a narcissist, but he had some toxicity to him for sure. He had some toxicity to him. He's very toxic, and it just got worse as the relationship went on. And I was very stubborn because I didn't want to have that divorce. So I was holding on to that title and all that stuff that women do a lot of times when they don't want to end up in divorce court. So I think, well, there's someone that I dated after him that was certainly a narcissist. Life of Destiny. And someone that I had dated after him that was certainly a narcissist. Um, yeah, I'll say that. Pain is not always the best learning tool. It can leave damage. Yeah, it can if you don't find your healing. But it gets our attention, and sometimes we have to get screamed at. Sometimes that pain is what is able to get our attention, you know? Definitely. Yeah, but yeah, marriage is not for everyone, and definitely if it doesn't make sense, okay? So just get that out your mind, ladies. Don't be so hasty, you know, it's gonna be all right. Hello, Lynette Hatcher. The live chat is basically ending, but you know, YouTube will record it and upload it for anyone that has missed it. All right. All right, you guys, thank you for tuning in. And I'll be around still. I have a lot of videos to do with you guys. I think I need to create a playlist for all of these like powwows that I have for more so the feminine energy. So I think I do have a single woman's playlist. Maybe I'll add this underneath that playlist and try to put all of them under there. So if you guys want to like binge watch these type of topics, you can do that. Make it easier to find them. There's already some in there now. And if you have any other topics like this that you guys want to watch, you can go ahead and do that. I did one about what you should be looking for in a man. I did one basic chicks. I did videos on pick me chicks. So, you know, these are all really great videos to be watching. And with that being said, thank you guys for tuning in. And I'll see you guys in the next live chat.